everyone, welcome to Shearants for Horror and Supreme. Today, I'm talking about the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I am joined by a guy from Flex Movies and Pop Culture. So, welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for the chat. This is definitely one of my favorite Wes Craven films. It's definitely one of his masterpieces. It was a benchmark in horror, and it was a horror villain that we needed at the time because we never had horror villains that talked to you like that. Because we had Freddy and not Freddy, we had Jason and Michael, but we never had
Yeah.
a killer. We never had a slasher villain like this before, especially that can kill you in the dreams. And Wes Craven definitely made one of the iconic horror films of the 80s. So
Yeah, and well, just like building up on that, one thing which I enjoy about like Freddy and like the Nightmare films in a whole is that it isn't like multiple people playing one character like just in a mask and just being silent. With Freddy, it is like Robert England. Like, sure, we have the reboot as well, but Robert England is probably one of the like biggest like parts of like Freddy's identity and everything as well.
for sure, and then it's Rob England all throughout the whole entire franchise until the remake. But at that point, it was Robert England, and it was all makeup. And what I like about the first one, especially I think the first two and the third one, that he was really scary Freddy, and
Yeah,
and he was definitely in the original. How scary it was, how he was in the original, especially when he first appears. I always loved his makeup, especially in the very first two. In this one for sure.
yeah. I mean, in this one, he's just got sort of like a sadistic glee to him, like the bits where he like just takes off his fingers one by one, with the face as well. And it's all just really like cool, especially with like the practical effects and everything, which is probably another one of my favorite parts of the first film. Just like the practical kills, especially like the ones with like the rotating room and everything.
I because to me, I think the Tina kill and that whole Tina sequence is not just one of the best of the franchise. I think it's one of the best in slasher history. You know that Tina has the whole dream sequences. She starts dreaming. She goes out into the alleyway because she hears stuff. She goes in the alleyway, and that's where you see Freddy for the very first time with those long arms chasing her down that alleyway. And of course, he appears in front of her and he says, "Hey, Tina," and then starts slicing his hands up and really enjoying it. And then you get that iconic scene where she's just flying around the room, getting all bloody up, and then she has a head bang, and that, with her boyfriend there, and it's just an iconic kill how that was executed. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's probably like one of my favorite kills in like the whole franchise. That and I think it's I can't remember his name. It's Johnny Depp's character.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. It's blanking on me.
Um,
Um,
but yeah, I like how he's just like sucked into the bed, um, and then like everything just falls in with him, and then like just the blood just splurts out everywhere.
Yeah, that's such an iconic kill because he doesn't listen to Nancy. Nancy told him, and she pretty pronounces it, "Don't fall asleep," and he doesn't listen to her, and he does finally fall asleep. And then of course, he gets sucked into the bed, and the blood just squirts to the ceiling. And what's so amazing about that kill, the coroner, that deals with these things every single day. He's puking in the bathroom, and so whatever he saw, it even made the coroner feel uneven, ill, what he saw. So that's how pretty iconic that kill is, and the aftermath is pretty amazing because they make you run your imagination what it looks like out of the fact.
Yeah, and I mean just talking about like the actual like other kills in the movie, we have of course the ending, which is something that I probably want to get in a bit later because it's not exactly my favorite, but then there's of course Rod's kill where like it's like Freddy like with the sheet like rolling it up and then like lifting him up and just hanging him. Um,
Yeah,
that was
because
probably another good kill in the movie as well.
yeah, that is a great scene because Nancy's trying to warn her dad and all the other cops, and from their perspective, it looks like Rod suicide, but for Nancy's perspective, she knows that it's Freddy doing all that, and it's pretty eerie and kill because we don't see it, but we know that it's Freddy, and the way he gets pulled up and makes it snap his neck, it's very well done.
Yeah, and then are there other kills in the film besides just those like three, and of course the ending? I can't remember. I did watch it literally earlier, but I can't specifically remember now.
Yeah, I think it's Tina's kill, Johnny Depp's character's kill, and Rod's kill. Yeah, I can't think of any other kills that I remember in that movie. But besides the mom gets pulled in the thing at the end, but we'll get talking
Yeah,
about that after. So
yeah, but well, let's just talk about the ending. I never really understood it because Nancy comes back like in some of the sequels. So how is she like got driven away in like the Freddy mobile, or what? It's just always a bit like was a bit confusing to me because I couldn't tell if that was a dream and that was her like being taken to like her die, but I really couldn't tell.
well, yeah, it's the way, yeah, the way it's pulled off, because it makes it looks like the whole movie is just a dream at this point. Like her friends are even alive during that.
Yeah,
Um, um, she's surprised Freddy. Um, it could go either way. The way West makes it, it makes like you imagine, is it a dream, or was the whole entire thing that she's seen with her friends was dream? But to me, I think the final scene is a dream sequence.
yeah,
That her especially when her friends are alive. And I know West didn't want to do a different ending, but the studio interfered. So the way the way mom looks like when she gets pulled out through the door for the little door looks is terrible. But I know
yeah,
West never did want to do that. But I have go past that, and it's still an amazing movie either way.
yeah. Could it have been the mum's dream then? Because she could have dreamt that Nancy and all the kids were alive. Then they get like
It
driven away. Then she gets killed.
it could be. It could be from her mom's perspective too. And especially she was getting drunk, Marge.
Yeah,
um, it could have been, that could be a good thing because it could have been from her mom's perspective. It's hard to tell. But yeah, that is definitely interesting. The ending just leaves it people thinking like, wow, we know Nancy survived for sure, but yeah, it could be from her mom's perspective too. Besides from her Nancy's dream, and of course, this movie introduced us to one of the best final girls in Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. You know,
yeah,
coming with all those traps. Um, I love the fact that um, when Johnny Depp comes through the window and scares
yeah.
her, West uses a similar scene with Skeet in Scream. So later on when he scares Sydney at the beginning. So similar, and they look similar to like too. He looked like the younger Johnny Depp in that movie. But back to Nightmare, she was a smart found girl. Um, and what's another dream sequence that I love is when she's in the classroom and she
Yeah.
sees Tina go across, and you see that blood trail, and then there's that girl disguised as Freddy. It's Freddy, but it's a girl face.
Yeah.
I love that whole sequence, and I mean we get to see um Lynn Shay, Bob Shay's sister. So
Yeah. That, that
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 sequence,
scene was that scene was great. I do agree. Um, and then it also just like sort of leads us to a point where Nancy's like trying to figure out who Freddy is, and then of course we have her mum who's just like, no, it's just nothing, just forget about it the entire time up until like the final few bits. And was she one of the parents who burned Freddy, or was that just like a bunch of different parents? I can't remember if she
oh,
specifically said.
Nancy's mom.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it was her mom and her dad and the other parents that
yeah,
did what they did to Freddy. Yeah, she was part of it. Cause she,
yeah.
cause she, cause she remembers she has that scene with her Nancy in the boiler room that she takes the gloves out of the
Oh
fireplace
yeah, yeah,
and they have that conversation.
Yeah, and I I think the whole thing about Freddy being like a dream demon, as we learn in the later sequels, but like being able to kill people in their dreams is probably like a really smart decision in the movie because it's just something different than like our usual like slasher villains. Because most of the time they're just like big dude with like indestructible powers who just walks around murdering people.
For sure, yeah. I thought it was an awesome concept and a scary concept too, and a new concept that was different at the time. Especially, you made all the characters scared to fall asleep because if they dreamed they could die for real. And she also pulled when she dreamed, she also pulled Freddy Krueger's hat out of the dream, which was awesome. And especially Fred Krueger, mom, Fred Krueger, and yeah, what a unique concept. I thought that was a scary concept because you were scared to go to sleep and dream, and you can even die for real in your dreams. So
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Surprisingly, the entire movie up until like the last time that he falls asleep, I don't know how Johnny Depp's character survived because he was literally like falling asleep every time Nancy would try to go after Freddy. So I don't know why he didn't go after him any of those times.
Yeah, yeah. I thought he was gonna die earlier, um, and but he didn't. He survived until he got pulled into the bed. And Nancy told him not to fall asleep. Like I said earlier, he didn't listen to her at all. He fell asleep and he paid the price for it. So,
Yeah,
and and I just love how and can we talk about the score for a minute? The score for
yeah,
Nightmare is just iconic. That 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. The whole
yeah,
that music score is just iconic and very eerie. So
yeah. It really is, especially with like the like visuals of like the jump rope girls jumping around. Um,
yeah.
I'm, I feel like they did kind of like use that a bit too much in some of those sequels because they just like play it randomly throughout the films.
And
But
yeah, I agree with you. Instead, just using it in certain scenes where it's really needed. So, so I think that music is pretty good. It's just as long as they just don't use it too much and just use it when they need it, it works.
yeah, and another part which I specifically enjoy about the first one is also the fact that it was like um not only able to like introduce like a new like proper killer, but he is just sort of comedic in this one. He isn't like straight comedy like some of the sequels. He's still scary in this, which is what I enjoy about it because I do like scary Freddy Krueger rather than like comedy Freddy Krueger.
Same here. Same here. I prefer Scary Freddy. Yeah, I do. Yeah, there is some subtle comedic moments, but it's not like throwing your face like MTV Freddy came along later on, where he was just comedic and he wasn't scary anymore. That's why I loved when Wes Craven's New Nightmare brought that back to be more Scary
Yeah,
Freddy. Um, but yeah, always preferred Scary Freddy. I wish they would stay like that for the whole entire franchise, to be honest. Um, um, because unfortunately, and I wish they would have kept, make more scary makeup like they had did in the first one and the second one too, that slimy look. But after a while, you can tell. Well, even the third, the makeup I do like too. But later on, it just looked like this. You can tell it's just Rob England with makeup and not just Freddy anymore.
yeah. There's a lot of like scenes where it just doesn't look like properly like not real, but like well done, like in some of the sequels. Whereas like in the first few, you can tell that a lot of effort was put in. You can tell that like they really wanted to make him look like a new like and scary villain.
Yeah, like a demon type
Yeah,
to look scary, especially coming in your dreams, scaring you.
and it's the whole like dream demon bit with him is just like another part of like why I love Freddy a lot because it's just quite unexpected because you think like in like a horror movie you're not gonna expect like them to kill you in your sleep. You think well unless you're just sleeping and they just walk up and kill you, but like you think they would like kill you like while you're running from them or like while you're like trapped in the corner of a room or something.
For sure. And then and when you come out of her dream, she actually has real injuries too, which was I
Yeah.
thought was cool effect and really show that what happened to her dream actually shows that she's still having it in real too. I thought was pretty cool.
I think one of the bits that kind of confused me about it was when a bit of Nancy's hair went grey. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. Do you like understand that? Because it always confused me. Like when she's sat in the bed, she's got his hat. She's like been like cut on the arm from his glove, and like a bit of her hair's gone grey.
Um, I always felt that that in the dream, the more Freddy dreams um and gets you, I think it affects your body and age too. The way I see it, I think, and yeah, it confused me at first, but to me, I see it as the more you dream as Freddy and the more he does to you, I think it also affects the way you look too, and then you start to age a little bit as well.
Yeah, that definitely makes a bit more sense now. But what would you say besides from Nancy was your like favorite part of the like protagonist in this movie? Because that's another thing that I like about the film. It has like a likable teenage like group of like characters like Scream, like Wes Craven does with like some of his movies where he has like likable characters.
Yeah, I thought Tina was good, as her friend until it was a long role, but I thought she was a good friend and a good character because she starts off the movie with her dream, and until her demise. Um, I thought Johnny Depp played a good boyfriend to Nancy. Um, I thought his character was very well. I also liked John Saxton's character as her
Yeah,
dad. I thought he was a good actor, and he played his character very, very well. Um, at first he doesn't listen to Nancy, but later on he starts listening to her, which I think was pretty cool. And he played a phenomenal character, which it was cool to see him return to the franchise later on.
yeah, but that actually reminded me of something which I've just thought of. Very rarely we'll see a film like open or like the first like bit of a film follow a character who will then be killed off. I think I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times in a horror movie. Um, and I do think that's a very smart way to go. Like especially when like say for example you're marketing a movie, you market it around that character. You watch them for like the first half, they're the main character. Then you kill them off, and then you like make one of the side characters the actual main lead.
For sure, I definitely agree with you. Um, because especially certain movies, they start off with the character that you see and they kill him off right in the opening act. With Nightmare on Elm Street, they didn't. Tina was just having her dream and she woke up and you got to know her a little more before later on her demise later on. So I thought that was a cool idea and different. Only certain movies it works where you kill off a certain character in the opening, like Scream did. Um,
Yeah,
but then Nightmare on Elm Street, this very worked because I'm glad they didn't kill Tina off right off the bat in her dreams, and we got to know her better, and you got to see that friendship she had with Nancy and everybody. So
yeah, you get to see why like that dream sequence in the school kind of affects Nancy because she's literally seeing like her friend's corpse, but just being dragged through the hallways.
yeah, for sure, and it sets the tone for the rest of the film to come because
Yeah, definitely.
like, whoa, what a good opening.
I I I do kind of have to say one of the things which did kind of confuse me was um say like when Tina's like being like taken to the air like
Yeah.
when she's like bleeding out. So wouldn't they be able to figure out that she was dropped from the ceiling like on an autopsy? Like wouldn't that have
Um,
broken her bones?
um, you would think, um, but you would think, yeah, reality. I get what you're saying. Reality, they would be able to tell that she fell and broke her bones. But I think it's because she landed on the bed, and
Oh yeah,
the bed was soft. But I get what you're saying. If she landed on something hard, they would easily tell by broken her bones. I so depends how hard the bed was and soft. But I think it's because how the bed was, they couldn't tell right away if she was dropped from the ceiling. Which I love how I love how that shot, how they pulled that ceiling off. But I think it's if she would have landed on something like not the bed and something really hard on the floor, I think they would have been tell that she fell and broke her bones. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I get what you're saying.
yeah, because like if they were able to figure that out, they'd probably figure out. Yeah, I don't think Rob was the one who did this because I don't think he'd be able. I don't think even if like he'd kill her, he'd just throw her into the air and just like, drop her back down.
Yeah, and it's cool. And he was going all over the room with her, and
Yeah,
doing all this stuff, and even under the sheets. And the terrifying part, Rod can't even see what's going on from his
yeah,
perspective. He just
he
sees
just
Tina.
sees her.
Yeah, and I know it looked like it was the way when they do the headbang, but that headbang when she hits Rod looks like it really hurt. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah,
I think they used a dummy for that part, but still, it looks from like a perspective, it would look like if it were feeling like realistic, it would really hurt.
yeah. There's a lot of parts of this film which I just think probably could have been like explained a tiny bit more, i.e. that bit, but um it's not really necessary though.
No,
In like the long term run for the movie because at the end of the day, it's just about Freddy
yeah,
Krueger. Um, it's about Freddy going around killing people and actually trying to figure out what's going on, what her mum is hiding from her. I like how she's a fellow caffeine addict. I don't drink coffee, I drink energy drinks, but relatable.
for sure, yeah. And that's what Nancy was doing too, drinking coffee and trying to stay awake, and then I think even trying to take pills at the point. You know what's another iconic scene, and I love how they pulled it off. You remember when she's in the bath and her legs are
Yeah,
spread, and then the where Freddy's glove comes from, it's just the behind the scenes of that is very cool how they pulled that scene off, and that's such an iconic shot to begin with. And
yeah.
then, of course, she gets dragged down in a dream sequence, but that's very cool.
No, and I think another iconic shot in the film is the bit where she's like sleeping and then like Freddy starts coming through like the wall.
Yeah, for practical. It's practical. It's because they had
Yeah,
Robert just go through the wall, which I didn't like what they did in the remake where it was all CGI'd.
yeah. That was just like not very well done. I do. I am starting to warm up to the remake a little because like
Yeah.
it's not as bad as I remember, like on like another watch, but it's still not good.
Well, and it's not Jackie Early Haley's fault either.
Yeah, it was a script.
it's the makeup in the script that
Yeah,
bothered me. Because they could have did something awesome and made it its own, but they tried to be like the original instead of trying to be like the original. They could have just easily did their own thing,
yeah.
but
They could have done
unfortunately,
like a new storyline, which they were doing in like the first bit with the guy in the
they were.
diner. Yeah,
I
and
thought
then they just
that
changed it.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool idea. I thought, okay, this is good opening. They're doing their own thing, and then they decided to just go straight original, and I'm just like, what are you doing here? This is a remake. You could have did something special like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake did. You know what I'm saying? I thought there was
Yeah,
so much opportunity there. They could have did something awesome with that remake, but no, they start off great, and then it just goes off and try to be like the original, and instead of just doing its own thing.
yeah. Ultimately, I do think this is probably one of like the best like horror films ever because it's just like great. It's got a great villain. It's got like really good like eerie shots and like eerie music as well.
For sure, yeah, it's got an iconic cast. It's got a iconic character in Freddy Krueger. It's got amazing kills and some eerie sequences from beginning, and Wes just draws you in right off the bat. And his direction that he does throughout this whole movie is just amazing. It's an iconic script. It's an iconic movie. It's going to got an iconic theme. It's a 10 out of 10 film for me. There's nothing wrong with Nightmare on Elm Street. Besides that little ending, I still think it's a perfect film.
Yeah, I give it like a 9 out of 10. Just the ending, the ending just
Yeah.
sort of off for me.
Yeah, it's just that one part with the mom being pulled off, but it wasn't Wes's fault. It was the
Yeah.
studio that had to interfere with that part.
Um. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the channel and talking about Nightmare on Elm Street with me.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you again. We'll have to do this again. If you want to talk about any other Nightmare on Elm Street movies or any movies in general, I would love to come back on. I would love to have you back, have you come on my channel for the very first time. This was definitely was a blast, and thank you for the invite, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, and thanks everyone for watching this video. I'll have Plus Movies and Pop Culture linked in the description, and also probably in the comment if it is going to work this time, because sometimes it just doesn't work for me. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. Until next time, thanks for coming on, and bye.
Bye, everyone.